Hello again, YouTubers, Ultimate SpongeBob 101 back here again on the SpongeBob channel. In this video, we are reviewing SpongeBob episode 283, Mine Pas Big Hurrah and Yellow Pavement. The synopsis states, when SpongeBob's parents come to visit, their thirst for thrills comes as a big surprise. Also, you'll learn all you need to get your boating license in this educational driving film. Let's begin. Starting off with Mine Pas Big Hurrah, the episode begins at Avocado Acres condos where Harold and Margaret are just relaxing in their avocado home before the house begins to completely rot due to apparently lack of proper avocado maintenance. So yeah, you have to maintain the house too, you know. While they grow another home, Harold and Margaret phone SpongeBob to ask if they can stay with him, and of course SpongeBob gleefully accepts. But soon after, SpongeBob makes a decision to present a mature demeanor under the assumption that his parents would expect him to be a little bit more grown up now that he's not seen them for a while. And that actually turns out to be wrong. During a cleaning montage, Patrick keeps appearing first from the outside, then from beneath the floor, and then finally from the toilet. Not sure why this was included, but I guess it was somewhat amusing. Regardless, SpongeBob prepares a full agenda for his parents, culminating going to bed at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, which is absolutely silly. There's a part where Squidward begins to play his clarinet out the window, and SpongeBob yells at him to shut up, and Squidward is actually fearful for a bit until he actually realizes who's telling him that. So SpongeBob's parents aren't like what he thinks they are, and they do sneak out to partay until 8 in the evening, which is actually still kind of early, only to be greeted by a fuming SpongeBob when they get home. His parents force him to have a night out of fun in Bikini Bottom, first by throwing toilet paper rolls into Squidward's house, and then heading to the wrestling center, where instead of being there to watch, SpongeBob is horrified to find that his parents are actually there to wrestle. After his parents are easily defeated, SpongeBob accidentally lands on the wrestling area and then is challenged by this random, very familiar looking dude, El Morte, which turns out to be Patrick, of course. So once SpongeBob escapes, Patrick is then challenged by some other random guy, kind of resembling the karate guy from Karate Island, isn't he? The next stop is the 24-hour roller rink, where SpongeBob's parents get roller skates and then skate across various locales, including a hotel, hospital, and up and down the Fiery Fist O' Pain roller coaster at Glove World, before returning to the pineapple. I must say, it does feel rather strange to see how wild SpongeBob's parents are. We've never seen an aspect of their character before like this, and SpongeBob seems to feel the same way, lamenting that he was trying to act mature to impress them, but all of that clearly failed. SpongeBob then goes wild with his soda pop roller skate outfit and destroys his pineapple, exhausting all his energy and falling asleep. Wow, what a way to close it, huh? So the episode then finishes off with Harold determining that their avocado home should have finished growing by then, and then brings SpongeBob to live with them while his pineapple is getting rebuilt or regrown. I'm sure Squidward actually is more than happy to have SpongeBob not being there, right? We also have Patrick showing up chasing down SpongeBob for peanuts. Random, but okay. The plot gets 8 out of 10. Having an episode centering around the expansion of characteristics of characters we rarely see is great when it's done right, especially when those characters have some sort of a connection with SpongeBob. So the wilder mentality of SpongeBob's parents are a reminder not to take things too seriously sometimes when you don't have to. It's alright to have fun, and also no one goes to sleep at 4 p.m. unless it's for a nap, right? Animation gets 8 out of 10. We've got several locales featured in this one. There are new Avocado Acres, the Wrestling Center, Roller Rink, and some returning ones, including the Glove World's Fiery Fist O' Pain. I don't understand how it could have been possible to roller skate up and down the tracks of the roller coaster, but well, they did it. I do have to compliment the designs of the wrestlers, as well as El Muerte, or Patrick, in this episode. Unique characteristics gets 9 out of 10. Any SpongeBob episode featuring his parents are de facto awesome, because their appearances are just that rare. That's not to say that SpongeBob's parents will continue to only make appearances once in a blue moon, but it's nice to see family members of the main characters get a spotlight too once in a while. Overall, this episode gets 25 out of 30 from me. Next up, we have Yellow Pavement, and man did I laugh quite a bit. I am conflicted, but in a good way. So was I supposed to be laughing at Squidward torture? I'm not sure, because Squidward torture isn't that usually ridiculously silly. This episode, however, is filled with it. It starts out as a film titled Safety at Sea, an educational boating film, reminiscent of the season 5 episode Boat Smarts. Mrs. Puff shares only a few of her 138 simple rules for becoming a driver, given a time limit, but what we did see was great. So rule 1, pre-check. Squidward starts here with no damage taken and doing his check like a civilized person, of course. Then SpongeBob comes along, overinflating his tires, splashing oil all over, blasting his horn in Squidward's face, and overturning his boat into Squidward's boat. Nice start. Rule 2, cautious Squidward checks for traffic before turning onto the main road. But that doesn't matter when SpongeBob comes smashing right through and launching you into a billboard. Squidward ending up on the Yum Dogs billboard was actually quite hilarious. Rule 3, spotting pedestrians. A slightly more battered Squidward now looks through his trusty binoculars for pedestrians on the roads, and he encounters them almost immediately, having to take evasive action to avoid hitting them, and he does a really good job at it, avoiding the baby in a pram, the old lady, and also why is there a fruit stand vendor standing in the middle of the road? And why are workmen coming out of sewers carrying sheets of glass? Like, why? But thanks to SpongeBob fooling around on the pogo stick, he eventually crashes into the old lady and, yeah, gets beaten to a pulp. So, wow. So then the episode just skips ahead to Rule 29 on navigation. You know, just thinking about it, it's kind of sad Squidward even has to be part of the film. Like, can't he just walk off in frustration after constantly getting destroyed by some action of SpongeBob's? There's even more obstacles, including speed bumps and slow-moving kids. I see what they did there. Slow-mo, get it? Slow-moving. Unfortunately, thanks to a silly navigation situation, Squidward reads maps and ends up rocketing off an unfinished bridge and exploding. Well, I mean, they got the explosion in too, so yeah, and as if things couldn't get sillier, SpongeBob is then placed in the boat with Squidward to demonstrate Rule 53, proper passenger etiquette. This time, Squidward is in an absurdly terrible physical state. SpongeBob does SpongeBob things, from taking over driving to blasting snow and fire at Squidward by messing around with the AC. Oh yeah, and backing up the boat into these slow-moving kids. Rule 54, road rage. Well, here Squidward is really pissed and like literally red. Patrick overtakes him with his new hot rod, so I mean, glad to see that Patrick's still driving on the roads. But really, after all the trauma and harm Squidward's been through, can you really blame him for being angry? This time, SpongeBob actually does something positive and calms Squidward down by offering tea and raking sand. This causes a traffic pileup and a giant hillbilly comes out and destroys Squidward. Well, he can't really catch a break, can he? Unfortunately, the projector fails, and SpongeBob then puts up his own puppet show of him getting his license and everyone loving him for solving every problem under the sun. A very weird and overly optimistic segment, but I did like the style here. Class is dismissed, but SpongeBob only gets kicked out once Mrs. Puff tears up the fake boating license. Wow, that was a doozy. Plot gets 8 out of 10. This episode is packed with SpongeBob being as ridiculous as he can possibly be, and Squidward just taking all of the damage. Very unjustified. But unlike other episodes where Squidward is relentlessly destroyed, I did find this episode, especially parts where Squidward just gets demolished for no reason, very entertaining, probably because of what SpongeBob was actually doing. Infinitely more fun episode than Boat Smarts. Animation gets 9 out of 10. This episode was packed with so much action, from the bellowing horns to Squidward replacing a hot dog on a billboard, getting pummeled by an old lady and dumped in the trash, becoming a snowman and getting flushed with rage. Oh, and while the idea behind the puppet scene was strange, its style was, as I said, absolutely amazing, with a nice version of Big Fat Meanie as well. Googly eyes SpongeBob and that little doodle drawing style, so I really like that. Unique characteristics gets 8 out of 10. I'd say this episode was a very good remake or re-envisioning of Boat Smarts. Far more entertaining and the plot was much more developed. On the darker side, I think Squidward received a good variety of torture in this one, of course, aside from the explosions. And I'm no fan of Squidward torture normally, but in this specific instance, that was actually instrumental in making this episode a very memorable one. Overall, Yellow Pavement gets 25 out of 30 from me. So that's all for this video. Let me know what you guys think about episode 283 in the comments. Did you like the episode? Did you not like it? Make sure to subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys again really soon for the next SpongeBob video. Till then, bye!